Hello and welcome to Temple of Akasha, the home of embodied spirituality with me, Natasha. So I've been guided to bring through an Ascension update with regards to the collective energies at this moment, especially with regards to Starseed mission and also the alchemical process of union within ourselves and in the collective. Some big waves moving through the collective with regards to evolution, transformation, activation, and so I want to speak to that and maybe affirm or validate your current experience, or just bring some tangibility to a process that often feels very abstract and something that is difficult to point to with language because of how divine and multidimensional it is. So this is really an update speaking to our multidimensional process, a multidimensional remembrance process. Everyone, doesn't matter whether or not they're conscious or not, whether they're on an awakening spiritual journey or not, we are all multidimensional beings. Some of us have conscious awareness and contact with that, some don't. It doesn't make one being more or less superior than another. We are all multidimensional divine expressions of source. We are coming into remembrance of that now on earth. I feel very strongly that we have already reached a tipping point with regards to that. What I mean by that is, it's not necessarily the quantity of people that have awakened, it's the quality of awakening that has happened on earth. It's really profound. What I'm feeling is that there is now enough people have awakened to such a degree that their 4D and above multidimensionality is coming online and being integrated, that it is beginning to shift the collective. And we are, a part of a web of consciousness. We are all expressions of the web of consciousness. And so when a group of us are dedicated to this work, when a group of us have come onto or come into form, come to Earth with this specific mission to support mass awakening, that is enough to tip the scales. And I feel that that has already happened. I feel that the scales have been tipped. I'm feeling a lightness, even though I think our material world is going to go through a dissolution process that may feel the opposite to light. To me, that is just it's a bit like when you're demolishing a house, right? Like once you detonate, there's going to be a moment before the house explodes when the charge is moving from the detonator to the actual explosives and the house blows up. There's a moment before anything happens, right? And so I feel that that's where we are. We've already detonated the old matrix template, where we've already begun the process of dissolving it. We're just seeing the fallout of that now. We're going to continue to see the fallout of that now. So I'm feeling a real sense of like jovial and light in terms of collective mission. I feel like so many of us have held strong through what was a very difficult winter, and this is what I was guided to speak on first before I speak about what's happening right now, just to actually just affirm and to just acknowledge that the last winter season, the last season of contraction, because the seasons really echo the kind of qualities of energy that we're invited to explore within ourselves. And so when we're in the season of winter, we are really being invited to do that deep introvertive shadow work, to go and journey into the underworld, to come into contact with the darkness, instead of holding it in kind of in polarity or in exclusion to ourselves, to actually begin to make contact and come into communion with that other aspect of self. It's all us, it's all one. And so I feel that many of us dedicated to mission, many starseeds and Lightworkers, we had a rough winter in terms of ascension. Lots of very, very, very deep trauma came to the surface for many of us. Very, very deeply rooted templates started to dissolve in the winter, but that process is not comfortable. So it felt gnarly to a lot of us. I know that that is very much the case in my community and network, a very gnarly winter. arduous. It took tremendous spiritual strength, resilience, courage to move through that arduous winter, but we did. And I feel so strongly that that arduous work that we did, holding the frequency of faith, holding the frequency of love, in spite of that deep work we were doing, has really paid off. What I also want to speak to with regards to that process of the shadow work winter season that we've moved out of now is that many of us, particularly the feminines, and I'm feeling specifically the feminines with this, but really I'm just going on what I'm seeing in my community, in my client base, in my friendship circles. But what I felt into was that there was a real focus this winter season on embodiment. So what I mean by that is those of us that have that kind of multidimensional remembrance, if we've gone through Kundalini awakenings, Starseed awakenings, Twin Flame, we have that understanding of the innate multidimensionality of this experience and our true self. We were invited by Spirit to focus less on the existential or perhaps the etheric, the cosmic, and we were asked to really focus on coming into contact with this humanity, bringing love, compassion, and tenderness to the suffering of this human experience, to this shadow, to these unconscious aspects, really tending to the human. So my channel for the winter season pretty much closed down. I was not receiving any light language. I was not doing any kind of channeling at all. And I felt that was, I really let that process be what it was. I didn't force it. I didn't try to open it because I had that very deep sense and understanding that there was so much content that I needed to deal with at a human level, that when we're dealing with higher frequencies and we've got our channels open, if we are channels or we are, we are in touch with that kind of multidimensional gift in terms of being able to feel into the non-physical and the energetic, it can be like system overwhelm, system overload, if we're also dealing with a tremendous amount of kind of human content. So I feel that this winter shadow work season was really about integrating our humanity, becoming whole with regards to inner child, with regards to past life, ancestral lineage, wounding. So really doing some deep integrative work here for the human. What happens when we do this work, when we start integrating these fragmented parts, these soul aspects, is that we start to not only come back to a sense of unification within, but we naturally clear out the old, the gunk, the baggage, the karma that has been taking up vital and valuable space in our fields, so that we can then bring through that which wants to be anchored from our higher selves, from spirit. And so we actually we really are on this journey moving through a process of just shedding and releasing weight from the past, karmic baggage, so that we can be clear and we can be ready to receive that which is in our highest good in this incarnation for ourselves and the collective. So that feels really important to speak to. If you found that, from sort of late last year into the spring of this year, if you were having a hard time, please know you are not alone. Almost everyone I was in contact with was going through such deep shadow work. So it's been really tough. And what I'm also feeling into is that death disillusion process has not ended. It doesn't end. What's happening is more rapid rebirth and death cycles are now beginning to take place in our experience. So the words that came through when I was writing down the download was, we have an increased capacity to hold duality now. So what's happening is we're having a more conscious experience of the duality of this human experience. So we're really becoming aware that there is, the love, the joy, the expansion, these higher frequencies, this contact with spirit. There is also the density that comes with being in form, the grief, the heartache, the loss, the change. And the more we take that higher awareness and we become embodied in it in our humanity, the more we expand our capacity to hold duality. And that's the whole point of being here in form. It's to anchor that singular consciousness of love in our human experience and hold all of this human experience with love. So really hold the duality and the polarity with wider awareness. And that's what I feel we're becoming masterful at now. I'm seeing this again, especially for the feminine collective, this increased capacity to hold duality. But I think it's happening across the board. So we continue to move through these more intense revolutions of death and rebirth. They're happening. I'm seeing manifestations and that kind of collapsing from vibration and energy into matter happening far more quickly. It may feel like time is collapsing or dissolving. I am really experiencing that our attachment to linear time and space is really dissolving now as the multidimensionality starts to anchor in and starts to become more consciously available to us. So this is a big part of the process now. Our frames of reference, our reference points in terms of time being this chronological linear process, these are starting to kind of seemingly warp or distort because we are becoming aware of the true nature of this reality, which is not chronological or linear at all. It's a unified field, and so there is no one starting point, one ending point. That's not how the actual kind of objective reality works. That's how we view it through subjective third dimensional reality. So we are moving beyond this pure attachment to the third dimension. I feel that many of us have already ascended into kind of upper fourth dimension consciousness at this point, and we are acting now as bridges between those higher consciousnesses and the third dimension, and those still anchored in this kind of third dimensional matrix. So lots of amazing work has been done, and what is now happening as a result of this incredible shadow work season that we've had, and just this continued effort by the Lightworker and Starseed community to purge, to clear, to become conduits for spirit, for soul work, for soul mission, and to orientate ourselves towards love. What is happening as a result of this is that now, with clearer fields and more space available, we are beginning to anchor in more light. And so what that means is this is where the Starseed kind of remembrance is coming online now. Our multidimensional remembrance is coming online, and with that comes the remembrance of our innate gifts, our soul medicine. So the things that we as unique expressions of source are here to offer as individuals, or presenting as individuals, that's all starting to come online now in a really powerful way. And I'm seeing this especially for the feminine collective. This multi-dimensional remembrance is being embodied to a degree where these soul aspects, the priestess aspects, the witch aspects, the medicine woman aspects, these kind of shamanic aspects, the psychic, the clairvoyant, the starseed even, they're coming in. And what's happening is our soul mission and purpose is becoming clearer, because you could think of our soul mission and purpose as almost like a hot pot or a cauldron, and it's like a kind of mixture of all the different ingredients of our soul's experiences from the past and our ancestral lineage, as well as what we're here to anchor in this life. It's like a hot pot, and it's all being stirred up now. And so these kind of really unique expressions are coming online for these awakening individuals now. So your gifts may seem really alien, they may seem unusual, you may not even have a reference point for them because they're novel, they're new. You are a unique blend of your own soul's experiences, your ancestral lineage and wisdom, your starseed origins. And so what your medicine is here to be, what you're cooking in your cauldron, is going to be different to what has come before and what anyone else is going to express. And so what I'm seeing is that many of us are now moving into a territory where we are kind of in pioneering territory. Gifts are coming online, our ability to channel, to connect with spirit, to connect with those that have passed over, to be prophetic, to be oracles, to be mediums. This is all coming online. That innate feminine wisdom, the intuition, the connection to the energetic, the connection to spirit is really coming online now. And it may feel a little bit like I'm in uncharted territory, because not only has this way of being been dampened and diminished for so many thousands of years that it's not really in our kind of collective like historical memory, recent memory, because the patriarchy stamped out feminine intuition, but also it is really a learning process. We are bringing through codes and ways of being that have never been seen on planet Earth before. And what I'm seeing a lot of is frequency medicine. So many of our gifts are coming through in terms of kind of energy work, energetic mastery, whether that's with light language and the various expressions that can come through, or with regards to just moving, manipulating, exchanging, transforming energy. So many of these kind of non-physical gifts now are coming online, and it's beautiful. And this experience of the feminine pole of collective and individual consciousness coming online, to me, is the marker for the new earth, for the new templates being anchored. It was the feminine consciousness that had been deliberately diminished within the collective, because what the feminine aspect of our consciousness does, and this is not, sex or gender specific, the feminine aspect of your consciousness is the aspect of you that is innately intuitive, is innately connected to feeling, to the energetic, to the non-physical, to the abstract. It's not concerned with logic and reason and pragmatism. That's the masculine. The feminine aspect of your consciousness is the knowingness beyond mental knowing. And when we lose contact with that aspect of our consciousness, i.e., when we lose contact with the remembrance that we are both spirit and human, that we are both energy and matter, we lose contact with our wholeness. And so when we start to bring the feminine consciousness online, we start to come back into our unity consciousness, because we remember all of who we are and what we're here to do. Okay, we're not excluding, separating, denying, or bypassing anything anymore. That consciousness is essential to the liberation of humanity. And so I'm seeing it. The feminine consciousness is rising in power. This empowerment through the collective is rippling. I can feel it. And so this is having an interesting impact with regards to the dance of polarities of masculine and feminine. I want to make a point before I talk about this dance with regards to how the feminine leads. When we're speaking about polarity work, and when we listen to a lot of it, we often hear about the masculine leading the way, whether this is in a physical union between a masculine and feminine masculine and feminine counterparts, or whether this is within our own experience, that masculine aspect of us driving and being directive with action. We often hear about the masculine leading. I want to just speak on this for a moment. The feminine leads, but the feminine leads in a different way to the masculine. The feminine leads energetically. So let's just take the example of one person for a moment, their own inner feminine, their own inner masculine energies. The feminine aspect, as I've already said, is connected to spirit, is connected to intuition, is connected to the innate knowingness beyond knowing, right? So you could say that aspect of our consciousness is the oracle. It's the aspect of us that is able to commune with spirit and then bring that wisdom through into the physical. And so the feminine leads in terms of her ability to flow with higher guidance. So the feminine aspect of consciousness leads because she is taking directives. The awakened feminine is taking directives from spirit. And then the masculine takes that higher guidance. An awakened masculine energy is in reverence to and serves that energy of higher guidance, of higher wisdom, of an awakened feminine, and creates the container to drive that energy forward and create in the physical, to drive and direct the force of that energy into something tangible, into something practical, into something material. And to me, this is the union that happens. The feminine leads energetically, the masculine drives physically. And so the reason I'm speaking on this is because I'm now seeing, in terms of physical unions, especially within the Twin Flame Collective, what I'm seeing is, as this feminine pole of consciousness is rising in empowerment, and as the feminine begins to reawaken her connection to spirit and her power when she connects to spirit, she has energetically sent the call out to the masculines, right? By being empowered, the feminine consciousness is saying, I am taking my directives from spirit, and I'm ready for more. I'm ready to up level. I'm ready for my gifts, and I'm ready for an awakened counterpart. You may have heard this in a lot of awakening communities. The women, or the divine feminines, those who have a feminine, predominantly feminine pole of their consciousness, they're saying, where are all the awakened men? And that call has been sent out. So the women are rising, and so they have energetically sent out an invitation to the masculine consciousness to say, we're moving, we're empowering, we're getting our guidance from spirit to move and evolve and transform. It's your job now to make this happen physically. And so the guidance I've been getting, it initially actually came through for a friend of mine. We were doing an oracle card reading. And the guidance that came through for him when I was reading for him was that he's being prepared for inner and outer union. He's in a preparatory phase, and not to be disheartened by what might feel like nothing happening at the surface level of his reality in terms of relationships. But there's this preparatory phase happening now for the masculines, and I feel this. When I started feeling into this energy today, I can feel that the masculine collective, those who are awakening, those masculines that are rising in their power, not that wounded template of the inorganic matrix, but that divine warrior, protector energy, it's coming online, and those men are in preparation now. All those male, all those masculine energetic beings, they're in preparation now. They are preparing to answer the energetic call and invitation of the feminine. And so with regards to union, I feel that if you are in a situation where nothing is happening at your physical reality, what I'm feeling is that we are going to start seeing a lot of unions, physical unions, starting to collapse from energy into matter soon. We're going to start seeing them materialize soon. I can feel that these unions are gestating. And they're gestating, they are brewing, because the feminines have begun the process of activating their own power, activating their own inner masculine template, empowered template, which is about boundaries, which is about, sovereignty, which is about recognizing that we can hold, provide, and protect ourselves in terms of being really discerning with who we're sharing our energy with and how we're sharing our energy. And the more that we as feminines integrate that pole of our consciousness, our own masculine energy, and we don't lower our standards, we don't get wobbly, we don't fall into codependent templates, the more anchored we stay in our ability to discern and be directive with our energy, masculine, the more we can then support and contain our own feminine expansion. And the more that we come into this own inner union process, and then that process of the feminine leading the way with this ascension, with this energetic mastery, initiates and invites the masculine pole of consciousness to step up. So we are in really exciting times in terms of divine higher union templates coming down from just, the etheric planes and actually anchoring here on earth. I feel that we are really going to see an abundance of unconditional love templates now being anchored on earth. So we're really moving away from these old ways of relating, these old marriage templates. I'm not suggesting that marriage is innately bad, but they were anchored in patriarchal templates. Those are dissolving. We are being asked to now bring in much higher templates of unconditional love and conscious union, and these will form the foundation of the New Earth communities. So moving forwards with this process, our task now is to continue to use the tools that we've accumulated on this path, to continue to be masterful with our energy, to continue to strive towards mastery, because that's what this process is about. When we're really on an awakening and ascension journey, that's what this process is about. It's about mastery. So to be really impeccable with our energy, and to really continue to focus on this expansion that is taking place and supporting this expansion in every possible way we can. So that means continuing to check in very regularly, especially because of how quickly timelines are changing, with soul guidance, checking in, continuing to connect and make the connection to the heart center very, very strong. This is our compass, this is our guide. We must have conscious connection and coherence with the heart in order to be able to anchor and transmit these frequencies. So continuing to follow, listen to, honor heart guidance, being diligent with our spiritual hygiene and practices. I've been getting the guidance that being in the sun is very important, very activating for the light body. I have had my Lyran guides coming through telling me that it's activating my ability to channel and to connect with their frequencies, because it's a very high frequency, the Lyran frequency. So being in the sun during those safe hours, before it gets to kind of like midday and 3 o'clock, getting out in the sun as much as you can, really activating at the moment, and very important for our light body activation, and really supportive of the remembrance and healing process. When I had this concussion and the symptoms were really very intense, I kept getting the guidance, go out and sit in the sun. And most of the time when you're experiencing a concussion, you're like, I just want to be in darkness and whatever. But I was sat in the sun, and even if I wasn't facing the sun, I had the sun behind me. I could feel the sun working and healing my crown and my third eye. It was really powerful. So the sun is incredibly healing. I also want to speak a little bit about diet. I have been yo-yoing for so long between, eating some animal products and then eating virtually no animal products, and not knowing what is the best and highest diet for me. I asked last night for guidance on this, and what came through is that I was told to eat the rainbow. So I was told to really focus on eating a really wide range, colourful range of fruits and vegetables, organic if possible, and unprocessed, untouched by human hands. So just taking it straight from the source if you can, or as close to the source as possible, and preparing it yourself. But also the guidance I got was quality. Really focusing on the quality of the products that we are sourcing and consuming, because everything is vibratory in nature. The vibration that is cultivated and then passed on to you when you're consuming low quality dairy or meat is not supportive of this ascension process. So I'm not here to dictate whether you eat meat or don't eat meat. I've had the guidance to really be very conscious, if I'm going to eat animal products at all, to eat very high quality, preferably products where I can actually, where I know where it's sourced from, and if I know the people, and I know the conditions of the animals, and I know the conditions in the environment they're kept in, the better. But the focus I was given in terms of diet and food and nourishment was really rainbow foods, rainbow veggies and fruits, high quality, organic if possible, and really just giving the body nourishment, real nourishment, and so avoiding this processed, packaged nutrition as much as we can, because this body really is the vehicle for our ascension. So we must really tend to and be stewards of this body if we want to be integrated in this experience. The body is coming with us to some degree. It's evolving too. It's going through its own evolutionary process at a cellular and molecular level. We have to support it. So, and without it, we wouldn't be here in form. So it's really important that we tend to this body, this temple. So I think that's everything for today. I hope this was a helpful transmission for you. We'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below. As always, if you've got any questions or feedback, please pop it in the comments or drop me an email. Your support is always really, really appreciated here. And if you feel guided to, sharing, liking, subscribing really helps my channel find the right people. So that is always appreciated. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next one. Take good care, guys.